I'm trained in laughter yoga. I eep, I eep, I eep.
Do you want to start with breath work, or would you like me to start with a prayer?
Yeah, start with, it's your show. Like, start with a prayer. I like that idea.
Okay, beautiful. First, we ask that any lower entities, any lower vibrations that are in this space, that they are removed and sent to the center, to the core of the earth. We call upon our guides, devas, devatas, Buddhas, bodhisattvas, galactic guides, gods, goddesses, the angel realm, clairsentient light beings, all who support our highest guidance. We offer this creative collaboration, a generous sharing of knowledge, as an offering of love and service for healing for our world. We ask that all that we share today is for the benefit of all beings. It is with this intention that we enter the creative cosmic void. It is a deep honor to present to you Cosmic Cheryl, tantrika, fairy godmother, yogini, evolutionary herbologist, Kundalini master, a guide for mantras and mudras, a breath magician, an astrologer. This is a spiritual guru. And the most beautiful thing about you, Cheryl, is that you offer your love and service with such generosity. There's never a limit. In the moment I met you in Kundalini Yoga at Highland Yoga, I sensed that about your energy. I knew that you had already discovered and rediscovered your roots and why you came in this world. And so it's a deep honor for you to have us here in your sanctuary. Let me just let you arrive. How are you feeling today?
I feel like I'm living in a fantasy world. I've had two people say that to me lately, like, hey, it's like you live in a fantasy world and we get to be part of it. And I'm like, okay. And I think I always have. And I think you see that. So since you reached out to me about this cosmic creation, I've been so elated. And I love also, like, very curious, because I don't know what's going to happen and what you're going to ask. And I love all of that. I feel elated in a very positive way, because nervous and excitement, it's kind of the same frequency, and it just lifted up, like a nervousness to that excitement. I think that's the word, like excited. Yeah.
I feel your energy, and it's, you so sincerely want to honor whatever it is that's intended.
Yes.
For our connection.
Yes.
I feel that.
Yeah.
And I came here with that same open heart.
Mm-hmm.
And truly, whatever the transmission is, it will happen.
Right.
It always happens. I always think about, I embody so much of the dark feminine. I know you know that I practice Kundalini, Ma Kali, some of those, the Dakini goddesses who really work toward transformation, taking like the pain and the shadows and then bringing it into the light. You also practice some of that, but the energy that I sense from you is light feminine. It's this fairy godmother. It's cosmic mother, but it's mixed with mysticism and enchantment. And that mysticism is what draws people to you. And you talked about characters, and absolutely, as we embody these deity energies. We embody our full sovereignty. It does look like a drama.
Yeah. And it's so fun. Then you're like, that's so fun. You know, these characters, and that they have two sides, and that we're multifaceted, and every part of us is multifaceted. Our chakras, our organs, our cells. It's exciting. And then all of our astrological placements, it's exciting. I've started to name them and give them characters, and it just makes it way more fun to create our own mythology, you know?
You're a word maven. You're a poet. I share away. Tell us.
Well, first of all, I also want to acknowledge this day. That is Valentine's Day culturally, and then it's Venus Day because it's Friday. And we're both dressed in Venus colors, you know, greens and pinks. And so I love that, like such a heart day. Whatever you think about Valentine's Day, collectively, we are culturally, we're all thinking about love on some level. Some maybe more transactional type love, which can be fun, you know, and some more of that totally accepting, completely unconditional acceptance of each other's shadow, pitfalls, goos, you know, and also in helping to enhance each other's ruse, like that, and which is consciousness to me. It's like light. So that is what I get so excited about, like that love. And then I think when you have that, then yes, you can be so generous because you have so much of it. It's almost like it feels like it just spills out. You can be generous with your love by just listening and showing up for people, you know?
I want you to share more about the goo and the rue. That's a big, I love that. I love how you break it down into the rue, which interestingly enough, in a lot of Eastern dialects, rue does mean spirit. It means higher spirit. I don't know if that was
Yes.
your own. It was.
Oh, yeah.
Intentional. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I've
that-
always loved the word guru, and I never thought it was like a person. I never thought, and I don't like when someone says like, oh, they're a guru of art or something like that. I think you're in the guru current. I mean, maybe you could be a guru, but to call someone that, like, just like, I don't want to be called that, or like the guru of whatever education or something like that. You know, to me, it's, you can get in that. To me, it's a current. It feels like a current, like a stream that you can get into when you're connected with your highest self, let's call it, like that infinite soul of yourself. And when you're connected to that, then you're in that stream, and you can bring from that high place, you can bring the Ru, because Ru is high, and you can bring it in consciousness, awareness, light. That's what it feels like. It's like that light into the places that are gooey, like we like to hide, the shadows, the pitfalls, the goo, and embrace them. Embrace the goo as opposed to try to whack-a-mole it, or, you know, get rid of it or fight it or kill it. It's there. We live on a polarity planet of levity and gravity. So bring the levity to the gravity. That's what makes sense here on Earth, you know? Yeah.
Goo, the dark shadows, the parts of us that we siphon off and we never want to look at, the skeletons in our closet. This show has, what we really aim to do is to bring the goo up of the healers.
Yeah.
Because those of us that are committed to this work know that that's where we find the light.
Totally.
I'm interested in knowing the beginnings of your goo. I know that you grew up in New Jersey.
Pennsylvania. I was born in New Jersey.
Born in New Jersey.
Just for 6 weeks. Proud. Grew up in Newark. My mom's from Newark. And then Illinois for a little bit, but mostly Pennsylvania.
Okay.
A little Maryland. But Pennsylvania, a little small town.
So your roots, when I think back, you know, and of course, this is just from what I've learned about, you know, researching you. It's class clown, trying to deflect sometimes sadness or isolation through laughter. Being the class clown, you know, entertaining people. What were the beginnings of your shadow work that laid the foundation for you to, you know, embrace this work as a healer?
I love that question. I have a Scorpio moon, and in the third house of communication. So I feel like remember as far back, it's like 6th grade, you know, when you have those slumber parties. And I was always like, what is it that you don't like about me? Like, there was that part that I wanted to know, because that's when oftentimes, like, we can start to talk about each other and like it gets weird, at that age. And what are people saying about me behind my back? Like, I want to know. And then what can I do with that? And I remember journaling about it a lot, even as young as that age. And that was the first time I was 11, sixth grade. And I had two friends were not happy with me. I had a Farrah Fawcett haircut that my mom gave me. They had Dorothy Hamill. They wanted me to have Dorothy Hamill. I didn't. I'm sure there were other things I did to maybe annoy them, but they moved their desks away from me in sixth grade, and then they had everybody else do that too. And it was pretty rough, kind of dark. And that was the first time I was like, what did I do? And then I had like, my parents, of course, were very open. And my dad, because I was trying to ask my dad, will you cut my hair? Will you cut my hair, Dorothy Hamill? And he's like, I'm not cutting your hair. I had a lot of hair back then. And he tried to explain to me the way it was, and my teacher had a poster of Farrah Fawcett on his wall. And then I had the haircut and they had the short hair. And it was just this like interesting thing. And I was wanting to know, like, what did I do? What was it that I could not see that made them so angry? And that also reverberated out into like, I would get in trouble and not understand why. And then now, like you said, the clown, I know that like I go for shocking, not just humor, but shocking humor is my medicine. I love to be shocked, like with humor, and I love to do it. And that pretty much still to this day is priority. And I can get in a lot of trouble, I have, in jobs, in all realms, because that is so important to me. And I also know that it's medicinal. But yeah, like you said, sometimes I would do it so that I didn't have to face something hard, or like if there was some happening, that I didn't want to go into that depth of that shadow, I could always find something funny about it.
Tell me what you mean by that. So you like to use shocking humor in order to get your point across or to speak your truth. Is it?
I think it's to shift, like now that I know, it's to shift the energy. So like if I was in a class and the teacher was just not authentic, like having us do something that I didn't think was in any way uplifting, like copy sentences from the blackboard. And so I would, the class before that, this is like eighth grade, I would, we were learning about drugs and science. So I would reenact or act out the drug that I would pretend to be on it in her class. She didn't like that much. Then I also found out that she was talking about me to the other teachers. Somehow I found this out. My math teacher told me. And that she said she thought my issue was I was boy crazy, which I didn't think I was. But I acted out that role for her. And I got, I said, hey, everybody, I have a calendar on my locker. And I just went around to all the boys, sign up, sign up, sign up, as a total joke. So I got kicked out of her class. And then I had to meet with her and the assistant principal and my mom. And my mom totally defended me. She always like would wear a question. My parents wore like question authority buttons, and they would come to school pretty often because they defended me, and I would often defend like the child that got in trouble or something like that. And so anytime I felt like the teacher was not treating somebody inclusively, I would do something like that or stick up for them or whatever. But that's when I started to now that looking back and that I still do it, anytime that people are being more like in that contracted reductionist place, especially in education, because to me, education is so important, I will just act out. So that's, I think I think it's maybe a little sting, like a Scorpio sting because laughter, especially shocking laughter, I haven't seen anything shift energy faster or more intensely than that, to shift it, like alchemize it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and I love this origin story because it really, a lot of people that are deeply intuitive, and everybody has intuitive gifts, everybody has psychic gifts, but those of us that stumbled upon them early in life definitely felt a lot of isolation. And the way we processed information was different. And our sensitivity was different. And so often we were the black sheep, or we were in trouble, or we were punished, which then created even more of a desire to belong, and then a sensitivity and then an empathy for other people to belong.
Yeah.
And here we are in our adult lives, really championing that, and in my work, that's what I care about. I care about people being able to tell stories where they've been silenced or
Yeah.
their voice hasn't mattered. And I see your work. It's to help people ground into their bodies, like own their sovereignty, stand in their birthright. I've been to your yoga classes, and I know you do this in schools. Interestingly enough, you've been championing an initiative across, is it middle schools and elementary schools?
I was doing a deep breath initiative with all the schools.
Share,
all
please.
age.
Yeah, tell,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
What's funny is I got in a lot of trouble for laughing and talking pretty much a lot. I mean, let's say every day in junior high, I had a detention for laughing and talking during silent reading, literally every day. What's funny is I'm trained in yoga, laughter yoga. There's such a thing, which is hilarious. And it's really to laugh for no reason, but you can add like some.
Let's do it now.
You want to do one?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's laughter milkshake.
Okay.
Okay, so you have, bring your arms up to a V, and imagine you have a glass in each hand. And as you pour from one glass to the other, you say the sound, I eep. Ready? I eep, I eep, I eep, I eep. And then mix it up. And as you drink it, laugh. Go.
Quite honestly,
So sometimes you need a laughter milkshake.
quite honestly, just looking at you while you're laughing is enough to make me giggle.
Yeah.
Like
It's so fun.
Yeah.
And then I got to bring this to schools, and I was a school teacher too. I was a school teacher. And the ones that got in trouble were the ones I really, really resonated with, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, give me those kids,
Yeah.
That's what I want, because they just have this, they want to rebel. Change the sound, rebel, do something different. And those are my people.
The rebels, the
Yes.
pioneers.
Yeah.
So you go into schools currently through which programs? I know you've got
I haven't gone since COVID.
Okay.
But before that,
Yeah.
I had a deep breath. Well, first it was yoga. I had Atlanta Yoga Movement, a nonprofit, where we were invited. I always go where I'm invited. So high schools, middle schools, elementary schools. And then it's a challenge because schools, like the floors are dirty. We had an elective course at my children's high school down the street. And the yoga class was on the stage of the gym. So, and people were always just walking by, or like all the kids who were taking PE in the gym always were curious. And it's funny, but I've taught even like in the stairwells where there's like dripping water, because sometimes they didn't know what to do with us, and they would just put us in these weird places. Because, it's not as clean. And to me, I think I often struggled with, does it need to have a clean space, or can we bring the roux here? I don't know. But I mean, I hear from a lot of students that they really loved it. I started yoga clubs. I pioneered yoga clubs. And so they were really big, especially the school down the street, which was so fun. And then, so I got this hit to do a deep breath initiative. Georgia Breathes. And at the time, it was 4 breaths for 40 days to change a habit. And one of my students had drawn all of them, and they were so cute. And we did that it was very successful. We did that for a couple years, and then COVID. And I was working with the State Department of Education and all of that, and training them to be breath leaders. They've been reaching back out to me, and I'm rebirthing it, alchemizing it, and bringing in the Georgia trees right now. So I have 12 breaths and 12 native Georgia trees, and one breath correlated to each tree to get the energetic medicine of the tree. And it's just so fun. Just a really playful way to breathe. That's because I liked the playfulness and the lightheartedness of let's breathe with the trees.
Yeah. Well, take us to the simplicity of breath and the foundation, right? Because, you've got this entire initiative that you created. It's like 40 days, 4 breaths. You know, breathing sounds like just a simple thing, right? But when you really dig deeper at how important it is for our energy, I want you to take it back to maybe the roots of India or whatever you've studied that can enlighten people about the breath, how it's connected to the chakras, the organs, and it's just and there's so many layers. And I know that
Yeah.
you've studied all the layers. And every time I come to your class, I learn about another organ, and how important it is to to use the breath to ground back into the body and to feel every part of my body. That's what your classes always do for me. So go ahead. What would you like
Aw.
to share about that?
I like to study a lot of different lineages to see what they have in common. Same with like, I love to study different religions. I was brought up, well, my parents are two opposite religions, and then they were always encouraging me to go to all the different types of churches and temples and things. So I was able to do that as a kid, and I loved it. It gave me a lot of multifaceted approach. And then my dad had wound up getting his doctorate in theology, so he taught me a lot too. He still does. You know, we talk about, and I was the mythology is what I always loved, like the majesty of that. But breath means I like to look at what it even means, and then where do we get that word? From Latin, and it's spiritus. So breath and spirit are synonymous in most languages. That to me already is wow. Because when, it's like often you can hear like, oh, breathe air. Yes, it's the element of air, but it's so much more. And we're starting to find out, like, I think science, the spiritual science is starting to find out like maybe more what that is. But to me, it's that stream, it's the spirit stream that you're breathing in. And yeah, like in India, right, in yoga, the prana is life force. And so it's obviously we can't, like, that's what gets us to live, not air, because you can have oxygen. It's not, I mean, that's part of it, obviously, but there's so much more. And to me, it feels like energetic spiritual minerals that come in. And I like to, in my fantasy world, that I like to invite people to. It's like our guidance team is sending the energetic minerals that we need at the time.
My curiosity is taking me directly to you being a channel and a vessel, a portal for galactic beings, and messages and downloads coming through the galactic beings. I'd love to hear more about your connection to that side and what you can enlighten us that they've, sent messages to you for the rest of us.
Well, they haven't sent, maybe they've sent messages for the rest of us. It's not something I ever wanted or ever thought about. I have a friend that does that, and Jen, and I've always like been so fascinated with how she can talk to her guides and everything. And then I had two dear women in my class in Kundalini, and each of them have lost each of them lost their child within 6 months of each other. The children did not know each other. And one day, like during a meditation in Kundalini, they came through to me. I saw them, they had messages, and I was crying the whole time. And I also was not crying in sadness, just these tears. And then luckily, I had Jen and I had a couple other friends explain to me that when that happens, you go to a higher dimension where it's just so much love that you naturally will cry, for some reason, tears of like love, of joy. And then they came in together every time, and they had messages for the class and everything. They were sharing stuff, and they were funny, and I saw what colors they wear, and then it was very healing for their moms. And I shared with the whole class because they would have these messages and I would just share and I could see them. And then Jen would be in the class and she would see them too. This was a few years ago, and it just changed everything for me. And it was fascinating. They continue to share. And one of them, one of the boys, he has a whole bunch of messages for his mom, and even like what colors to wear and stuff. So she now wears orange in honor of him. And everything has started to shift and change in that relationship because when our loved ones cross over, they can still be so close. And then as a little girl, my grandmother, who had passed when I was 2.5, my mom's mom, she's from New Jersey, and she always came to me, especially when I was in trouble. And I remember describing her to my mom, and there were no pictures of her anywhere dressed how I saw her, how she came to me. And she was always really funny. And anytime I would do something like in trouble for being silly, she's like, keep going, basically. And then one day, it was winter solstice a year, not this past one, but the year before. My children were all in town. I have 3, I have triplets. And we were walking. One of my daughters has a dog named Nessie. So we were walking to this park that I go to every day where I get the clarity. I get a lot of my uploads and downloads from there. And we were walking home and it was quiet, no leaf blowers. And all of a sudden we heard somebody in agony. And we're like, "Are you okay?" And he says, "No, I'm not okay. I accidentally chopped my foot with an axe." He was cutting something. And he said he tried to call 911, but nobody answered or something like that. And so he asked for my daughter's dog's leash. And this is a puppy, but we gave him the leash. This is a live 3D person. Yeah. And I didn't know him. And he lives in a house back, like pretty far back. And he was chopping something. And my daughter gave him the leash to tie around to try to stop the bleeding. And then for some reason I went up to him and like, I think I don't know. I feel like normally I would be a little skittish about blood and stuff. And this was told to me later by an energy healer that I kind of walked into another realm, kind of as my angel self. And I walked there and I said, like, "What's your name?" His name is Jamie. And I said, "You're going to be okay. I'm going to get you up and we're going to walk." I didn't even know what I didn't know. It was like, I was in this other dimension, I guess. And he held on to me and we walked. And by that time, his neighbors had heard him crying and screaming and I was able to help him get in the car. And so calmed him down, all that stuff. And I don't really remember, but somehow I walked home with my kids. My parents were in town and I had to take a shower. And then my Saturn returned. So it's the second time that Saturn is in the same placement as it was when I was born. So I'm in the shower and Saturn came through. And hey, this is your purpose. You're here to help alchemize. I'm going to guide you to this. You're going to help this man. So he had me, and Jupiter was there too. And Jupiter's kind of being silly, but Saturn's like keeping me on track and focused and disciplined. And he created this portal and he said, "Take the axe in your mind's eye and move it through the portal." And it was hard. I was very focused. And he kept saying, this is why you're here. You're helping to help alchemize and do this with your mind. And I did it. And then I was like, my parents are here, and here I am in the shower talking to Saturn, and they're like, "Come on, we're going Christmas shopping." And so I'm like, "Okay." And then my parents know, like, I hardly ever cry. Like I just didn't cry because I was like the clown, right? So they're like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "Well, because Saturn." I said something like, "Well, because I was talking to Saturn," and my mom's like, "Oh, okay." So we tried to go shopping, and I'm sleeping. I'm so tired, and then finally they like, "We're going to take you home." So they took me home and I slept. And then I got a little bit of a fever just for like half an hour. And then I needed citrus and then I was fine. So I think just coming back into the 3D, into the body. And then I hadn't seen this person, or I would have thought, was this just a fantasy? But my daughters were there and saw the whole thing. And maybe 6 weeks later, I was with Jen and we were walking. And I think they had been trying to figure out who I was, but they had seen me at the park. And it was his wife. And she said, is that you? Are you the one that saved my husband's life? Now, I never thought I saved anybody's life. She said, he would have died. The doctor said he would have died if you did not do that. And we've been wanting to give you like a gift basket or something. And I said, she was crying. I was crying. I said, "Hey, because of your husband, I have a relationship with Saturn. I'm totally fine, but thank you," and whatever. And we hugged and she said, "He's okay. He's had lots of rehabilitation and stuff like that." Then maybe a month later or so, I'm at the park where I always am and I walk every day and he's like, "That's you. Hey, I'm Jamie." He was there with his 2 kids. It was a Monday. He's just like, "I've been looking for you. I know you come here." And I said, "Well, I had some messages from Saturn, but I don't know if you want to hear them." He's like, well, yeah. He's like, I mean, I might, now I'll hear anything because I almost died, I said, he said, you had an axe to grind and you were not in your highest soul purpose. He goes, absolutely. And he said, look, now here I am with my children, my two boys here. And everything changed. And so now when I have astrology consults or when I'm teaching, I do get messages. And sometimes they're loud and annoying because they're like, tell them this. And I'm like, I don't want to tell them that. But so it's also great to have the guidance. And also sometimes it's like,
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. It's like, really? But it's also amazing because my classes are so easy to plan. Like, it's like, hey, this is what, and then people often say, that's exactly what I needed. And then because that's the thing, like they help me, they get me high. This is the vibe we need to go for. We're going to magnetically open up the heart, like today, something like that. And then the people who need to come for that, come, and it's like, then when I understand that, it just makes life like so much more fun. And so like, oh, wow, who's going to come? Who needs this today? Who, and what can I do? How can I be of service? And that's what Saturn said. This is how you are of service. You help alchemize. And he showed me literally with an axe through a portal. But now I'm creating all kinds of things like currency. I created my own currency. I'll have to show it to you. And it just comes through like help bring the cosmic to the 3D and have it look like it's in the dimensions of like $1, but it's huge. It's like really big because most people around my age we say why wear glasses when you can just print on big paper, right? So it's been really fun, like thinking of currency in that way and how to integrate the gurus with the ruse, like it's guru currency, and so fun.
I love this because this is exactly what I needed for where I am. This is so affirming for me. I know that Lauren, she and I have been dating and it's been over a year, and through tantric intimacy, we have visited other parallel lives. Wow. Yes. And only because it was in that experience with another person who could say, yes, I energetically was in that portal with you and this is what it felt like. And it was just so affirming. And as life is unfolding for me, I used to be a therapist. I used to be very in 3D in a chair with a notebook, with a diagnosis, and now as I'm meeting people through this show, the way that you're speaking with such like clarity that, I know that I'm getting messages and I know these are downloads and I know that the people that I'm helping, I don't have a 3D explanation. I don't have a linear explanation, but I know without a shadow of a doubt, energetically, I was supposed to save that guy's life. Right. And it's in these conversations that it keeps affirming for me my own path toward tantric work. I recently, in a meditation, saw a lama named Soltrium Alioni. Ooh. And I reached out and recognized immediately that she was somebody that works with Dakini Skywalker energy. And all this time in my life, I've wanted to go to the graveyard. I wanted to sit on grave. I couldn't understand this dark, feminine, mystic calling. I always thought, God, I'm really weird. Like demons are communicating with me. Why am I seeing the demons that are possessing my parents? I thought that I was crazy. Mm-hmm. And as this is all unfolding for me, and I'm finally owning my truth, and part of this show is speaking my truth, the very things that people told me that I was crazy, that I was sharing, people like you who are in that 5D experience, you understand that you are being communicated with and that you're being guided, and there's no fear in that realm.
Right.
And it's magic. On the way over here today, it was so funny, Cheryl. I stopped at Health Unlimited on the way here because
I love that
I'm 48, so I'm having like woman bladder stuff. So I wanted to go pick up some plants and herbs for that. So I stopped over there, and just as I'm pulling in, my guides communicate with me through letters on license plates.
Ooh.
That's that's a big one. And numbers, you know, those are some ways. So I pull in, and of course there's a RBA. My name is Rabia, right? I pull in, and what is the car in front of me? And I'm giggling, thinking about this conversation that we're going to have, right? And I'm in the samadhi bliss, the joy of this connection we're going to have today. And I pulled in and I said, that's an affirmation that's really where I'm meant to be, is at Cheryl's home and having that conversation. And then they ring me up, of course. And what's my total for my discount? $3.33
I
off.
love it.
And I said, oh, another affirmation.
course.
So those, you know,
Right.
all of us can tune in, but it's that voice in our brain, the sixth grader in you that's like, the mean girls think that I'm not legitimate with my Farrah Fawcett haircut, right? I'm supposed to have the Dorothy Hamill haircut, and my brain goes to, I'm too dark. I'm too all the wrong things to be the right kind of Indian girl to please my parents and the culture, right? So it's like turning off all of that goo.
Yeah. But as you get older, like for me, I'm about to turn 60, and it's like
Magic.
I'm just here for it. And also my family understands it, and you know, and sometimes like, and I'm surprised, but once in a while, like one of my kids will even say, does Saturn have a message for me or something like that, or do you have any messages for me? And you know, and I had the same thing happen today, in that when I was driving to teach, I saw there were two trucks in front of me, one called a Ram, and then the other one had all this Ram bumper stickers and stuff too. And they were both going really slow. And I'm thinking, Ram, Aries, you should be fast. Because I get like, that's one of my things is one of my goos is like, oh, I don't have anger. But it comes out in my driving. Like it comes out with like, because time and space is very challenging for me, and I need to like get there. And there's these two trucks, Ram trucks, and they're going slow. But it's like, oh yeah, just, you know, even though you have that head first Ram currency going on right now, you're connected to Aries, slow it down, you know? So it's like that. I agree with you. The messages come in all the time. And I heard it said that I really resonate with, that our heart is so wise, and it's like a whisper trying to talk to us, probably all of our organs trying to talk to us, and our guides too. But then our head is like a loud train or like a leaf blower. And how do you get to the whisper of the wisdom when you have that loud mind static happening? And that's why I find the yoga, the meditation, the mantra, the breathing can get you, clear the static and get you in the right channel, the right stream.
And that's currently exactly that is where I've arrived. I think when I first met you, I was in like that constantly moving that Kundalini energy, ready to create.
Yeah.
Just, and through this Tibetan Buddhist studies that I've undertaken, I'm now learning that our true nature is that it's that grounded mind. It's that the mind that isn't dirtied with all the obscurations of the overly identifying with, I've got to be on time,
Right.
or I'm a failure,
Right.
or if I don't perform this the right way, she's not going to like me, and then therefore I'm not worthy. It's like we at our base nature are, we're the Buddha mind. We are formless. We have no identity. We're just grounded beings. And I'm learning to integrate all of that Kundalini, the Tantra, and I'm learning to like bring the Buddhist a little bit, different
Yeah.
teachings.
But they go together really well. My teachers actually study both together, and they even have the prayer flags up, the Tibetan Buddhist flags, and they meet with lamas just like what you said, and also they practice Kundalini yoga. So I think it used to be maybe heavily influenced culturally, weirdly, that you can only study one lineage or have one religion. And I mean, I was brought up, I had two. And I remember in high school, I actually asked for and received, I think maybe my 16th birthday, a cross and a Jewish star, and I wore them both. And I felt right doing that. It was fun, like honoring both. And then, interestingly enough, my high school boyfriend was his parents were anti-Jewish, which is weird. It was like Potomac, Maryland, of all places. And also, I love his parents. So I was able to see that even at that age, at 17, 18, I love this family. They don't like, for some reason, they're Arabic. They have a problem with Jewish people. My mother's Jewish. And I was able, okay, I'll take it off and go to your house. And I was, I thought about it a lot. We talked about it a lot. We kind of dated it on and off college and stuff. And then it was really funny because he
It was
called
like a forbidden love.
A forbidden love. And he called the night before I got married to my parents' house. And my mom said to him, which is a great line, "You should have had a bagel." I know, it's a great line. I still laugh about it all the time. But I was able to like talk about that stuff and understand it and not, because sometimes people they just have that strange contraction around it, and
over-identification with religion, ethnicity, culture, and over-identification that's their only defining experience.
Right.
Right.
But people can have it with a sports team, or like they can have it with a yoga lineage. They can have it with I've seen it even with an alignment, like tailbone versus not tailbone. That was big, Yeah. I even, like, I was trained in Anasara with John Friend, and we were trained to, after you get all set up, then just soften your heart, melt your heart, he would say. And he was very poetic. He was a poetic teacher. And so it was soften your heart. It wasn't collapse your heart. There was a teacher at our studio who, she very, like, this is the way it needs to be. I'm trained in whatever. And tried to get Melt Your Heart banned from
Oh my
us.
goodness.
I know. Isn't that funny?
Too militant.
Like, melt your heart.
Here you are trying to, right. No, and we have to be careful of that, right?
Right.
And only lately have I started to recognize, I used to be so protective of my energy, right? And then I realized, wow, if people are triggering me constantly, it's my own goo that I'm identified with, and the work is within me. Yeah. And so if I can't shine compassion on somebody, it's because I haven't shined compassion on my own goo. Right. And that's been where all the learning has happened. So it's hard because we're intuitive, we're sensitive, and then we're easily triggered, and so there's the work, it's constant. It's just constant.
But it gets fun. And I like that you were what you called a 3D therapist, because I think, I'm pro 3D. I love Earth, and I love I don't want to just leave the 3D. I like the 3D. And also that's happened recently. Like, I had somebody kind of get upset with me because she feels, I think she should have a direct line to me, and I should be picking up my phone whenever she calls. And I don't have, no, a friend. I haven't like programmed my phone to like only not to block. What is that called when you like do not disturb? Thank you. Okay. So, and then she was really mad, and I just felt that whole like it penetrated in her anger, and I was like, wow. And then, but it took me a while to process the whole thing, and that goes with a lot of things. But then I can see, okay, like what I can learn from that, and that's what I love. Like, then it gets good, because yes, we can make these people wrong or bad, or, oh, can you believe she's, and then like we can be a victim, which is fun, right? I'm such a victim. Like, can you be on my side? But then it doesn't feel good.
So stop there with the anger, because that's something I come across all the time, where someone is emotionally asking me to be there for them.
Yeah.
It's like this energetic, parasitic kind of feeling. And then I have to go, am I angry at myself for overextending myself and overriding my gut and my intuition that's telling me I don't have it to give right now. I need to ground back into my Buddha mind before I can, serve up love. And it turns in, and they're a mirror for the anger that I'm brewing within myself, and all the times that I've overridden my own, my gut, my intuition, all the times I've overridden my own needs for other people. And then I have to go, oh, it's a boundary.
Yeah,
Oh, I
right.
just tell this person, I understand and I have compassion for what you need, but I'm not able to give it to you right now.
Right.
And it's that simple. And it's just like exercising that over and over until it get right. And for those of us that are super intuitive and sensitive, we can feel the person's need before they
Yeah.
even tell us what they need.
Right.
So it's hard.
Yeah, it's a challenge. And
It's
I like to think of it as like a sacred line. And for me to help, for me to create those geometric sacred lines, and then it feels really good. Like I create the lines of, and I also toggle with, do I explain that sometimes I'm in download mode or upload mode or creating mode or intuitive mode, not a
3D.
yeah, I need to be somewhere else more because that's what feeds me so I can come to the 3D and do what I need to do on
Do
the
you
3D.
set those boundaries?
That's what I've been really working hard on. And that's why I have my Saturn return now. So Saturn is like teaching me how to do that.
I want to go to your connection to astrology, and that's where you really shine a lot of your light. Would it be fair to ask you for a 2025 forecast or what's coming through for you to share right now?
I don't really do forecasts. I more help with what's happening right now, both like what's happening in the cosmos and then our inner landscape. So, and where I, all the planets, all the signs correlate with our organs and our chakras and where they are, where those players are and how things are getting played out. And to really understand through astrology your blueprint and then how you can really play with that and upgrade with that and dance with that and sing with that, like that, more of that. I don't do forecasting.
Okay.
I like listening to it, but mine is more helping people be their authentic self and really like understanding your shadow, like your goo, and understanding your gifts, your rue, and how to integrate and kind of embrace the shadow and kind of laugh about it. Like that's the comedy, that's the gold, and going through that they teach in the Gene Keys, like going through the shadow to get to the gift, going through the portal of the shadow, right? And like you said, like when I was, when I was 11 years old, that the shadow, like what you don't want to look at, is what when you look at it and you go through that port, it literally is a portal, and you go through it. That's where the gifts are. That's where the treasures are. They're in the goo, and it's fascinating. Which is why when we go through like anything that's not, let's say, comfortable or easy or pleasant, that there's always, like that's how it works here on Earth. There's always treasure from that.
So are you like to take an individual astrological chart, or do you like to tell me more about that? Because I only recently have stumbled upon Vedic astrology. I haven't really, and so I think I got a reading from a descendant of a Maharishi who
Wow.
had taken from the palm leaves that are stored in
Ooh.
India and told me that I'm supposed to go and part of my lifetime do Vedic astrology. So I'm only recently learning more about it. So is that really how you work? You like to do the individual consultations? Because I know in your class you might share kind of what's alive in the cosmos at that time and what we might be feeling. Is it all kind
To
of
calibrate with that, to help.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like, okay, right now the sun is in Aquarius, so let's shine a light on our genius and our where we can rebel, where we can change. And then like today, the moon is in Virgo, so how can we be of service? What do we need to organize? Things like that. That's like two of the players right now. So I like to look at that. I really like to work with groups. I like to create a mycelium network where we come together, we understand our placement of where the goos and the roos are. So for instance, my moon is in Scorpio. So let's say that particular placement. Scorpio influences the colon and the reproductive organs and the taboo things that most people don't like to talk about. And then the moon is like all the feminine, the yin part. So where in my field, in my inner field, what's happening there? What's the goo of that look like? What's the root of that look like? So like the goo of Scorpio would be, where am I holding on to resentment? And like I just can't get, like I cannot forgive somebody. Like just that I hold so much of that resentment and just that really like tight repression, suppression, compression of
The victim, like someone has hurt me.
a little bit with Scorpio. It's just more like where you were betrayed or where you were lied to. Because victim is more maybe Pisces or Cancer in the water signs, but Scorpio, not really victim. It's more betrayal. So like, where were you betrayed? Like, did somebody betray you? Like that you things like that. Like where did that happen? And I'm really masterful at holding on to that stuff. I'm good at that. And bring the awareness there. And so, and to understand just the geometry of where all these placements are inside with the organs. I'm very interested in the body dynamics of the whole thing and how that all plays out. And then where we're not paying attention. Like you came here and you said, which room would be best? And I'm thinking, what room do I not hang out in the most, right? Like what room would my dog, who was really old, what room would the dog pee in, because he had to pee every 45 minutes at least. He would not pee in the kitchen. He wouldn't pee he would pee in a room or a space that is shadowy, is neglected, has like energy. It doesn't have as much vibrant energy. Does that, and
You were trying to pick a room that had less energy or more energy?
Vibrant. That's
vibrant energy.
Right. But that's how we are with like what part of, I want to know like what part of me, where is that where it's not vibrant that I'm not paying attention to? And that's what I want people to do I teach people how to understand that and then create their own mythology around it. And what are the players and even name them. Like I recently did a ridiculous class in my Cosmic Flow, which I think you've been to. It was Super Bowl day. So I did a breath bowl and I named all the placements, like Mercury in Aquarius, Sun in Aquarius, and the Mars is in Cancer. And so I just named the players. There's two teams. It was Goose versus the Ruse. And but when a Rue would tackle a Goo, is more like a fun, like a kid that tackles and hugs.
Compassion.
Tackle. And so I named Mars in Cancer Goo, Moody Clawford. Okay. And I find that when the archetype of each placement, giving them a name and where they are inside, when you can see it, to me, it just feels like what's happening in your inner realm and how are the players moving around. And it just makes it more fun. I don't know, all the chakras are just different places and all the organs and how it's a miraculous how that all works out. So that's what I like to teach is that. And I like to do family stuff so that, because like I've found like my husband has a lot of Capricorn, mostly Capricorn, his son.
Guilty.
So he likes to work. And he also will usually say no first because it's Capricorn is influenced by Saturn and Saturn is no, it's contraction. So normally if I say like, hey, do you want to change out the lighting, like get a new light thing or something, or do you want to go to this place? He'll usually say no, but then, then he'll say yes. But, and he also really likes to work, and just looking at his chart and then understanding what it can aspire to, like what are the greatest gifts of his placement and how can I do my part without telling him, but how can I help him go there? That's what we can do. I want to help people do that. Like, how can you understand your own and then understand the people you love and how you can help them in a way, like almost an energetic helping, just hold the high aspiration. And then when you're holding it, it can help them get there. But they have to get there on their own. They're not going to get there from you telling them.
Are you, I know you do, so you do astrological consultations and you like to work with groups. So families can come to you. Are you currently taking folks to work with?
Yeah, and I'm starting Aries season working with the people to teach them all, to bring all this together. I've had an online group for many years. This whole online where you get a different breathing technique that correlates with the day of the week and what's happening astrologically, and you get a breathing technique for that. And then you get a currency, a PDF. So like a potion to create, or how to do geomancy, like almost like a feng shui in your home. There's certain degrees in the home, take a compass and like, okay, you want to, like for Libra season, you want to bring in a partner, then this is the specific area of your house. And these are some things you can do. And these are the colors, these are the crystals, these are, that. So helping people on the 3D level, what can you do? What can you eat? What can you do? What cell salt to take? All the things. And they get one every day. So that's been happening. And I've been designing these currencies. And finally, they're refined enough that I'm ready. It's taken a long time. And so to bring in the astrological placement to see with the whole, like the body and what movement, what breath, like really embody it and then help each other have I love how the trees work together, a resource on Mycelium Networks, so how we can help each other and just have people to laugh with and to help each other process it at a high level to literally go through the goo. And I even have downstairs, I have a studio set up, and my next door neighbors have created this Stonehenge. And I live in Druid Hills, so I also, one of my big legacies is to bring the Druid to the Druid Hills, because I come from the Druid culture. People live in Druid Hills, they don't even know what that means. What does Druid even mean? And to bring that, so you can literally go through the Stonehenge as like a portal, and just to play and have fun. Because some things, like you were saying, maybe can make common sense, 3D sense, but they don't make cosmic sense. And to me, I want to make cosmic sense, and other people who want to help with that. And then, like I said, the Georgia breeze with the trees, bringing that in as well. So that will bring like the earth, the Gaia kind of currency in.
Cheryl, tell us about your trip to India and what you remember from that.
It was just one of my most favorite times of my whole life. I went to Rishikesh, and I had studied a lot of yoga before this. So I think like last weekend marks 22 years I've been teaching yoga. 22 years, practicing for 26 and a half. Wow. And I studied Shiva with a phenomenal teacher, meditation teacher. And then I went to India and studied Kundalini. And walking to the ashram, there would be in the little streets, and there would be all these cows, like at 4 a.m., and they wanted to be petted, and you had to pet them in order to have them move out of the way. It was so adorable. And I've always loved cows.
Clear a space for you. I know. Yeah.
They're like, pet me. And I just fell in love with them. And I always loved cows. My dad grew up on a farm, so I love cows. I also have taught in Athens, Greece. I was asked to teach there. And I taught in Rishikesh too. I taught children, which is super powerful. I got to teach children, and they didn't really understand I had an interpreter, but they're so present, so they didn't want to wait. And so I had to figure out how to communicate with them directly. It's very, very cool and very magical. So I like to integrate the archetypes from different cultures, because I feel like they're almost the same archetype, but just with different names depending on what the culture is. It makes sense to me. And just to get the transmission from them when you need them, you can call upon them. From my understanding, you can call upon their help. Like you can call upon an angel or an ancestor's help.
So who do you have up here? I see you have Shiva. Mm-hmm. And then
Hanuman. And then the guards, like the Egyptian dog guard, and then Ganesha. Kind of looks like Horton Hears a Who a little bit. I just love Ganesh. Yeah, and then Hermes, Mercury. So these are my defensive line here.
And then you've got a beautiful mantra.
Yes.
Ganapati Om.
Yeah, Ganapati. which is Ganesh's mantra, is to help clear obstacles, clear any. And then I have some, just to help, anytime I think it's nice to have to help nowadays, especially now, to kind of clear the space. So this is this space, and I come in here to help, and with salt. Salt helps too, just to like open up some salt
To clear. Yeah.
or to put salt on the floor and things like that. Brooms, I love brooms. I love salt. So this is this section of the house, which is Aries. So this is Aries. Everything with geomancy, everything is astrologically feng shui. This is the east side of my house. And so these are Aries, kind of my, like, help protect and with the energy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, my warriors right here.
I love it. Beautiful. Where are we going next?
Okay, let's go downstairs to show you the druid stones.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Let's head there.
Okay.
Okay. We really want to know more about how to create a portal to be able to navigate to sacred places in the world and receive the energy of those sacred lands. And you've done that here. So tell us what you've done here.
So create them. My next door neighbors, Mona and Tim, created this. And so just create your own portal and you can go through it. So whatever it is you want to do, where you want to go, just walk through it. You can do that right now. You can just walk through.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
just walk through. Like think about a place that, like a portal, you just go
What is
to
the
another.
energy? What is the energy of Stonehenge? Like, so tell me more. Because which chakra of the earth is that? Isn't that our solar plexus?
Oh, it could be. That makes sense, doesn't it?
I believe so. I know South America.
Yeah,
is
because
sacral.
I think they did it in honor of the way the placement of the sun during the solstices. Or I know the pyramids are in Egypt. I don't know.
The pyramids are going to be the throat.
The throat.
So what can I set as an intention for you and for myself? Is there something that you from your solar plexus have really been wanting? Is it that I can like shed some love on, and then I'll also shed some on?
Yeah, tell me what you want.
Oh gosh, my hope is that this show just grows in our reach, that people listen and start to understand what they can do in their own lives to access their psychic abilities, their intuition, to connecting to all these cosmic realms, so that we can start healing the world little by little. That's my solar plexus dream.
Okay.
Yeah. What's yours?
So let's deactivate what's ever preventing that. And let's deactivate for me what's ever preventing sharing my wisdom in how to get in the guru stream to create your authentic ecstasy, understanding your virtues and pulsate that. Okay, so we'll deactivate what's ever blocking, and then we'll walk through to activate our desires.
Let's do it. Let's put all our energy into it.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm ready.
We're going to do it together?
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah. We both squeeze in here.
We can
Watch
squeeze.
your hat.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And you can go that way.
Okay.
Ah.
Okay. You're gonna
And
take us.
then, yeah.
You're gonna take us to.
We get this currency from galactic goofballs. And they come in the form of balls. And then right here are the organs. And what if there was a cosmic organ that nurtured all of our organs? And Rudolf Steiner said that all of our organs chose us, chose to come into our field. I love that so much. So you can stand under an organ and get a transmission of what it is. So if you need to let go, you can stand under the colon. If you need more harmony, the kidneys. Here's the small intestine, which is fun. And they all correlate with astrology. So small intestine's Virgo. Here's the heart, Leo, right here. The stomach, Cancer. The lungs, Gemini. Thyroid, Taurus. And the blood. Look how cute the bladder is. And so my friend Kira made these for me, and I had her put crowns on the top because they're royalty. They're nobility, all the organs. This is the brain for Aries.
You didn't say what the bladder was.
Oh, these both Taurus. And also the bladder is also like Scorpio, also Venus. Venus influences like the bladder and the kidneys. These are gonads And very Scorpio. This is Scorpio. Gonads and colon in their blue because it's funny, right? Gonads. Liver, Sagittarius. Gallbladder, Capricorn. Spleen, Aquarius. This is, look at this shape of the pancreas. Doesn't it look kind of phallic?
Yeah, it does.
Kind of cool. And there's a neuron, just to have one, in case you need like brain power, neuron power, nerve. Yeah, so that's the organs you can stand under and get a transmission. And sometimes I wear them, like you do, when I teach, or just around when I need more of that energy of like liver, like delivering, gallbladder, having the gall to do something, things like that.
And then what's the foundation for this? Did you study Chinese medicine? How did you did? Okay. You studied each organ and energetically what it holds and then how to heal it.
And I also studied it through Kundalini, and then I also studied it through astrology. So 3 different things.
Amazing.
Yeah, I like Trinity.
So integrated. All right, so we're here in the school of woohoo, which is where Cheryl takes all of her teachings, integrates them all, and offers guidance. So tell us where we are.
Well, here's a framework here, and these are the portals. These are hexagons, and I've taken into account that 6 is one of my numbers, 6 and 11. And one of my main gene keys is to create like a mycelium hub. And so each of these is surrounded by mycelium so that we can connect the energies of our gifts. The top row are the houses, the astrology houses. The second row are the planets and how they correlate. The third are the signs, and then these are the gene keys. And each of them has a goo that you embrace, and then the rue that you enchant. So it's like a currency. And then everything rhymes, because that's how things come in for me, is through rhyme. And so they all connect, and then to just see what is happening in the cosmos and how to understand where the placements are in the body and what's going on. And then what you're here. So when I learned some of my goos, like here Scorpio, we were talking about some of my goos and some of my rues, it just made so much more sense. And so if somebody has a lot of Scorpio placement, I see this a lot when I do family consults, that let's say a family has a lot of Sagittarius and Leo and Aries, and they're always having fun, and then they have that one kid that's all Scorpio, and they just want to be intense and alone and feel and go, and they might not be like, la, 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 let's have fun. But to understand that's Scorpio's role, and that's what feeds them, and to really honor that archetype. So that's what I like to present to people. And then obviously we have so many placements. You have your sun and your moon and your Venus and your Mercury, and your Pluto, your Neptune, like all of those, and where they are and how they all interact with each other.
I'm so fascinated with your artistic genius mind. You've taken all of this knowledge that you have, you've created a framework, you've integrated it, and now you're able to apply it to families.
Right.
That's incredible.
Because it's helped my family. It's helped us understand each other. So when we can do that, it just makes everything less staticky, like and then just to pulsate your gifts. And if somebody has a different gift than you or a different virtue, it doesn't mean that you have to do exactly what they're doing. Yeah, that's exciting.
So here at the School of Woohoo, you can come, receive sacred geometry, understand how all of this astrology applies to you, your relationships, and to help you go into your shadows, clear them up, and then reach higher consciousness and arrive at your rue. Is that the point?
Well, yeah, it gives you like this. It gives you a framework, and then we also have other currency to help really just bring it into the 3D, like maybe foods to eat, to just activate, integrate, elevate your cosmic currency so that things start to make cosmic sense.
Yeah. Gosh, I can't even imagine Like what a gold mine of like healing your sanctuary is. What a blessing, whoever gets to come here and receive. Like amazing.
Sometimes we have yoga practices like full moon, new moon, equinox, solstices. I have a friend that does sound healing, my friend Lisa. And yeah, we've created this space to be able to do that. Okay.
You're taking us next to your astrology room?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
The bank.
All right. Tell us about the magic of this room. Where are we?
This is your investment banking in the cosmos and in the 3D. So this is a caduceus and stick. And so there's moss to help bring it into the 3D. And it's a caduceus, which is healing over your chart. So when you come, I lay everything out in your chart so you understand your house placement, which is all here from 1 to 12, the houses, and then the specific signs you have in each house, and then the planets that you have in each house, and then also the gene key. So it's a lot. Sometimes it takes several different consults to really start to activate and integrate all the facets, the cosmic facets. And what makes sense to me is that we invest in our cosmic currency and honor it, understand it, and then that's what we can play with. So we have free will; we can play with it, and see how to really find that connection to our highest good. It's like these are clues and really invest in it. So that's why I like to make a currency. And these currencies, the portals of these, you go through the shadow to get to the light. So I made them look just like that and had so much fun.
Everything is a game. Everything has a name and it's a game. I mean,
Yes.
this is a lot of
Everything
fun.
rhymes.
It
Yeah.
doesn't even feel like work, I imagine. It's just fun. What's going on over here? There's a lot of moss.
Yeah. A lot of moss and sweet. So with the trees, the Georgia breeze with the trees, bringing that in, and I have the native trees, the sweet gum. I love these. I think these are so magical. And some people, they get upset with them because they, when you step on them or whatever.
Get stuck on your
But
socks.
they're so fun. They're like Dr. Seussical. I don't know. I love them. They're so fun. So I just play with these, and just depends on what we're doing or what we're teaching. I like it to be really playful. So in here, get a code, you open it up, you get your currency where you can go invest. Because oftentimes you can understand, like, okay, I'm a Gemini's sun, I'm Mercury in Gemini, I have rising Virgo, but what does that mean? And you can study like maybe what somebody thinks it means. But what if you invest in that and feed it and see what happens and play. Play. And these benches were from the restaurant where my husband and I had our first dates like 37 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I love sticks too, because sticks are wands. So I think it's
And you're a fairy, you're a godmother, you're an enchantress, you're a mystic.
to have your sticks. And I encourage, because children love sticks, dogs love sticks, and why not like orchestrate your breathing with the sticks? Because I'm Lady Inhale too. I like to inspire people to breathe deeply. So with a stick,
A breath magician on top
breath
of
magician.
This is magic. This room is magic. You're
Feels good.
magic.
You're magic.
This is exciting, powerful. I can't, this is beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for inviting us and sharing all of this. It's so special, Cheryl. I know people are going to ask, how can we get more Cheryl? So I know your website has some really great offerings. You've got some podcasts loaded on there.
And I'm about to restart that up, my podcast.
Tell us where people can get more Cheryl, more of your wisdom, more of your guidance.
Well, there's woohoo.com with all three O's, woohoo and woohoo, because I have 3 girls. Trinities, I love Trinities. Woohoo.com, and then you can see the classes. So I teach at Highland Yoga, which I love, and I teach at Form Yoga, which I love. And so those are public places where I teach. And I'm also co-leading a retreat with Mandy Roberts, who created Form Yoga in June, the solstice. And it's all about play and fun in the Georgia mountains.
That's in Elohe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really excited about that. And then I'm going to be starting to come to my home. Like, this is my offering. I can share how I embody the cosmos here in my home. Everything is astrologically aligned, my entire house with the cosmos, with the chakras. And I just keep getting these hits. And so you can see, and also it's authentic. The house is very authentic to my husband and I, my family. Those are my children's footprints on the ceiling up there. And, you know, just to help people get a transmission of that so that they can live their life in a more authentic way.
Is there anything that's on your heart that you just have been wanting to express in our time together today, that it's been like bubbling up and people must hear it? Is there anything for you?
Guilt and obligation are not virtues. And to pulsate with your authentic virtues. And I find astrology can help understand what those are. And then once you know your virtues that feed your gifts, then you bring in the breath and the mantra and the movement and the meditation to really clear out just the not you, like to clear out those forces. Like Star Wars is kind of a documentary, so clear out the the non-vital forces, how to clear it out in a fun way. And then whatever it is that you really want to do, because that's what I do, like, and that's what you're doing. What we really want to do, what lights us up from the inside out, do more of it and get better at it.
Beautiful.
And then you have that ecstasy. That woohoo is the ecstasy, and I would like more ecstatics.
The best drug in the world.
Yeah, I know.
And it's unlimited.
Right.
Don't need a prescription.
No. No.
Heavily meditated.
Yes.